Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Iceberg. Glad to have you all here with us tonight for our first post-season show. We've got a great program for you tonight, and as always, I am Casey Stamp, your host, with my partner, Craig Smith. How you doing tonight, Craig?
I'm feeling great. Excited about the playoffs.
As are we all, and tonight we're going to start off with game analysis of the Penguins-Islanders game as well as the Penguins-Thrashers game. Then we're going to break down the Penguins' first-round matchup with the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're going to talk about our top candidates for the Hart Trophy. We will, of course, have the updates on Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin as well, and we're going to finish off with game prediction for the upcoming series with the Lightning. Stay tuned. We've got a great show rolling your way on the Iceberg. Welcome back. Friday night, the Penguins traveled to Long Island to take on the New York Islanders in a much-anticipated rematch. And, of course, with the events of that last time, these two clubs played, it certainly added fuel to the fire. And, of course, the Penguins with a chance to clinch home ice advantage with the win. And from the drop of the puck, the Penguins just seemed to have the edge as they would take the early lead at 8:57 of the first. Mike Rupp getting the puck in the net past goaltender Al Montoya. Partner Mike Rupp has taken a lot of heat from a lot of fans, and unfairly, I think, for taking too many penalty minutes, and I think more so at the beginning of the season. But he works hard. He's got great hands, and I think he's a good influence in the locker room. What has your interpretation been of Mike Rupp this season?
Well, I love Rupper. He's great. He's contributed some goal scoring. He only takes penalties when they're necessary. He's not afraid to stand up for his teammates. He's a great all-around guy.
Absolutely, and of course, we got to look at Mike Rupp, the person, as well as the player in that 24/7 series. Penguins had a couple of power play chances in the first, but couldn't convert those chances into points. And, of course, at the 9-minute mark, Eric Goddard and Trevor Gillies would find each other. And was this to be anticipated?
Absolutely. These are two guys that have a long history with each other and with fighting. They've been fighting each other, squaring off every time they see each other since 2004. Back when they were both in the AHL, so this was to be expected.
Absolutely, and they would go at it, both receive game misconducts, and then we saw Aaron Asham take on the league leader in penalty minutes, and Zenon Konopka. So two fights and a slew of penalties in the first period, a total of over 60 minutes in penalties in the opening period, but the Penguins would take the 1-0 lead into the locker room after one. Second period, the Penguins would find themselves almost immediately on the power play as Blake Como would be assessed for tripping, but nothing doing on the power play, and they'd be 0 for 4 on the power play at that point. Partner, how important is the power play going to be in the playoffs? Is it something that if they don't fix it, it might be a backbreaker?
I'm not necessarily sure. I think our Penguins were built pretty tough, but the league, it's something the league is definitely going to have to take at least one more look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw James Neal leave the game and go to the locker room in the second, so a scary moment there. The Penguins would get their fifth power play chance of the game at 9:28 of the second when Radek Martinek would be penalized for hooking, and Zbigniew McCulloch, with one of his famous slap shots, would finally give the Penguins the power play goal and the 2-0 lead. But immediately after that, Blake Como found the back of the net and made it a 2-1 game. Then the Penguins would be called for too many men on the ice, and the Islanders would have some scoring chances and some shots that, honestly, I don't know how Fleury were able to save. Just incredible saves by Fleury all around. But no further damage done by either team, and the third period would start with Pittsburgh up 2-1. The final period of play, James Neal did not return. Obviously, he'll be back for Wednesday's game. But the Islanders seem to get the upper hand early in the third, and a few really nice chances and more impressive saves by Marc-Andre Fleury. But ultimately, the ice tilt would cost the Pens, and Blake Como would score his second of the game to tie it. And, partner, it just seems like the energy was zapped from the Penguins team after the power play in the second. And how do you explain the lack of energy starting the third?
I don't think it was so much that the Penguins had a lack of energy as that it was that the Islanders had a surge in energy, that they got inspired by some of the events that happened in the second and third period, and their energy level picked up, which made the Pens look like they had been sapped in comparison.
Absolutely, and certainly if there was any loss, the energy would be returned just after that as the Penguins would regain the lead 3-2 off a Mark Letestu goal. Then at 17-14, Max Talbot would be penalized for holding in what was already a 4-on-4, and the penalty to Talbot would be killed off, but the Islanders would score on the power play and tie the game. And so a really bad time to lose control for the Penguins. What happened there, partner?
Well, if you look, it's possible that the Islanders would have tied it up anyways because there was a goal that was called as a no-goal because of potential goalie interference by John Tavares in the crease, and the Islanders got that goal waved off and came back. They were already on that similar momentum surge, so some way or another it looked like that they were probably going to score and force an overtime.
Absolutely. And by the way, what was your impression of that John Tavares goalie interference call?
I thought it was kind of questionable. I mean, I looked at it several times, and they are calling goalie interference more liberally in terms of no goals because it can be a non-goal and not be a penalty. But at the same time, that one, I honestly think that one probably should have gone to the Islanders.
Well, the third would end tied 3-3, and the game would go to OT. In the OT period, some great chances for both teams, but nothing doing in OT as far as scoring, so the game would go to a shootout. In the shootout, Marc-Andre Fleury made all three stops against Parenteau, Tavares, and Blake Como. And you could make the argument that Marc-Andre Fleury is the best shootout goaltender in the NHL. Of course, I'm sure Henrik Lundqvist might take exception to that. Chris Letang and Alex Kovalev would both fail to score, but the man who was second to Sidney Crosby in goal scoring on the Penguins, Chris Kunitz, would score the game winner and clinch home ice for the Penguins. So the Penguins win, they clinch home ice. And how important, partner, is it to start off the playoffs on home ice?
It's amazing. I mean, it's very important. It's critical. Having that home ice advantage gives us a much better chance of winning, going on to the second round. Gives us that extra energy from the fans at Console. Gives us another chance to promote a brand new arena. So it's amazing. It's a great thing for us.
Absolutely great thing for the Penguins. And, of course, Chris Kunitz has been such a clutch player this year. And Sunday, the Penguins took on the Thrashers in Atlanta for the final game of the regular season. And starting out, the Pens didn't exactly get off on the right track as Eric Goddard would be penalized early. And then just a few seconds later, Max Talbot would also go to the box, making it a 5-on-3. The Thrashers would strike first on this one on the power play with the goal from their captain, Andrew Ladd. And by the way, Andrew Ladd having one of his best seasons. He's really stepped it up in Atlanta, especially in the second half of the season, and helping keep Atlanta in the playoff hopes, at least for a while. Ultimately, they came up short. The rest of the first, not too much else, and the period would end with the 1-0 Thrasher lead. Second period, a Pittsburgh offensive explosion as at 6:25 of the second, Tyler Kennedy would score his 21st of the year and tie the game at 1. Then at 10:53, the Penguins would score the go-ahead goal as Pascal Dupuis would score on the perfect pass from Talbot, making it 2-1. More Penguins offense at 15:27. It would be Mike Rupp, the former Devil, scoring off the missed shot from Eric Goddard. Just a really strong period for the Penguins. Partner, after such a slow first 20 minutes, what changed in the second for Pittsburgh?
Well, if you got to look, our guys that we had that are aggressive players, like the second stringers and the middle line guys that we were playing in the last regular season game against the Thrashers, are the type that heat up towards the second and third period as part of that core unit. Because as the other team starts to wear out, our guys have that stamina and that drive to where they'll exploit the openings in the other teams. And what you basically saw was the Thrashers falling apart into the second and third period, and the Penguins capitalizing on that.
Absolutely, and that stamina is going to play a big part in the playoff series. And then just to make it an even 4 goals, Mark Letestu would score at 18-14, putting the Penguins up 4-1 going into the third. Partner, Mark Letestu, of course, named Rookie of the Year at those team awards a week or so back. How has Mark Letestu contributed this year to the offense?
He's amazing. I mean, that's why we re-signed him so quickly. He's put up a lot of numbers that we needed, especially in the absence of Crosby and Malkin. And I think he's even up there